CR7 is at it again. Arsenal joined Odegaard race. Zidane left embarrassed. A night of EPL drama and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I am your host, Mark Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and it seems like we're doing this every single time Cristiano Ronaldo scores a goal, but last night he did, according to certain official records, become the highest goal scorer ever. Forget Pelé and all his non-existent goals, but now Cristiano Ronaldo, with his 760th strike, has become the highest goal scorer ever, the best ever to do it. And what a day to get it. He got it in the Italian Supercoppa final against Napoli to give them the lead, and with Alvaro Morata's last-minute goal, it meant that Juventus won the title. This is Ronaldo's fourth title since moving to Juventus, and it's a first trophy for coach Andrea Pirlo. Of course, he was facing off against former teammate Gennaro Gattuso, who was in charge of Napoli, where Lorenzo Insigne missed a penalty for his side. That was an absolute nightmare. As for Cristiano Ronaldo, like I said, it's just another record being broken, and what's scary is that he's showing no signs of slowing down. That's 32 in 32 for him this season. Of course, he's got the Euros this summer, there's a World Cup at the end of next year, all this, and he's going to be 36 in a few weeks' time. Honestly, the likes of him and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, it's insane. It's actually a massive, massive compliment to how they look after themselves, that they're still able to perform at the highest level, getting on towards their late 30s and even 40s. If I'm doing anything at a high level by the time I'm 40, I'm going to be pretty pleased with myself. No less playing at the top level of international football. So moving on though, and to some transfer news. So Martin Odegaard, who's been the talk of much debate in the last few days after handing in a transfer request at Real Madrid, well, Arsenal are the latest to join the race for the playmaker. That's because Mesut Ozil looks to finally complete his move to Fenerbahce. I think that one's going to happen tomorrow because he's been in quarantine since flying to Turkey. As with Odegaard, well, Arsenal and Real Madrid have quite a good open communication because of their loan deal for Dani Ceballos. Apparently that one's not going to be made permanent, but they could take Odegaard on loan for the next 6 months. It's clear he wants to stay at Real Madrid in the long term, but wants to leave just to get some minutes of football, and Arsenal could definitely do with that creative force. They do have Emil Smith-Rowe, who's playing some fantastic football at the moment and could be offered a new deal at the club, but they can't put all the reliance on the youngsters' shoulders, so having Odegaard as another option is a pretty good deal. They will have to fight off the likes of Sevilla for his signature, but it looks as though it's pretty much a straight race between the two. On top of this, Real Sociedad have made another bid to bring him back on loan to the club, which would be very weird because he'd be on loan at the club for a 2-year deal, only complete one of those years, then get called back to Real Madrid, then rejoin the club for the next 6 months of that second season, which technically was included in the first contract, but then it's a new contract because he was recalled last summer. It's all getting very confusing. Anyway, out of all of these deals, I could probably see him going to Arsenal or Sevilla, like I mentioned. Moving on though, and talking of Real Madrid, then Zinedine Zidane has got far bigger problems to worry about than the future of one of his squad midfielders, and that is because Real Madrid are out of the Copa del Rey. This is the 5th time since 2001 they have lost to a third-tier side. Last night, third-tier outfit Alcoyano managed to win 2-1, and what's even worse is they had 10 men. And on top of this, Real Madrid got taken into extra time, so there may be a little bit of weariness in their legs come the weekend's football. They didn't have necessarily their strongest squad, but it was still a team full of internationals that started the game and some players who had won all of the biggest prizes in world football. At the end of the game, they had some even bigger stars on the pitch and they still could not win. This is yet another hammer blow to Zinedine Zidane, and loads of questions have been asked about his future at the club. Of course, during his first spell, he won absolutely everything and he was an insane coach, and Real Madrid was so good, but it started to look like mainly thanks to a certain Portuguese striker they had banging in all the goals. He's still doing that, as per the first story in today's Daily News. But without him, they almost went out at the group stage in the Champions League, although they fought back to finish top, in all fairness. They're now out of the Copa del Rey and they won't win it, and they haven't won it, I think, in the last 7 years, since 2013. And on top of all of this, they're 4 points behind league leaders Atletico Madrid, their biggest city rivals, and Atletico Madrid have got 2 games in hand. Things aren't looking so good for Zidane at the moment, and if he manages to turn it round, according to some in French media, this will be an absolute miracle. Moving on then to last night's Premier League action, because yesterday, throughout the whole day, we had 3 Premier League leaders. Leicester City started the day top, after beating Chelsea on Tuesday night. Then Manchester City went top after beating Aston Villa, and then Manchester United regained the position at the top of the tree thanks to a 2-1 victory at Fulham. In fact, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men managed to turn it around from a losing position for the 7th time this season, and it also means that they're still unbeaten away from home. Some really good form heading into that fantastically exciting FA Cup tie against Liverpool. But not so much the Manchester United game I want to talk about, although it did show, like I always say, that Paul Pogba is insanely talented, and when he's on his game, he's one of the best in the world. But this decision in the Manchester City game, oh my God. For those of you who haven't seen it, there was an offside calling where Kevin De Bruyne plays the ball forward and Rodri is slowly jogging back. In an offside position, he knows it. The second Tyrone Mings touches the ball, Rodri goes and pressures him, wins the ball back, the ball ends up with Bernardo Silva, and they score. Now, yes, you could point to the fact that even after the tackle is made, Aston Villa should be defending better, but I actually think it's offside. The official ruling from the Premier League is that once the defender takes a deliberate touch, which Tyrone Mings did by chesting it down in hopes to control it and play the ball, then effectively that phase of play is over, so Rodri is no longer offside. My issue is that surely Rodri is interfering with play because Tyrone Mings feels the need to control the ball quickly and get it out because he knows that there's a presence next to him. Rodri is like 2 or 3 feet away. If he's not there, then Mings doesn't even need to touch it. If he lets it go and it bounces towards Rodri, he's offside. The same thing happens when, and we've seen it in the Premier League before, when somebody shoots and the player's in an offside position and he kind of gets out the way or he dodges away from it, the question is always asked, did he make an attempt to play the ball? Not whether he touched it. Did he make an attempt to get anywhere near it? Did he interfere with play? And Mings, obviously worried that Rodri is right next to him, technically means that Rodri did interfere with play. I'm giving it as just offside. That's probably a bullshit reasoning, and according to the letter of the law, yes, Mings did play it and Rodri doesn't count as offside. I think it's a little bit harsh, especially for an Aston Villa team that defended so well, despite the fact they haven't actually played a game since New Year's Day because of loads of COVID cancellations. Next up then, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news that you might have missed, and talking about that Chelsea loss to Leicester. Apparently, if results don't improve soon, Frank Lampard will find himself sacked at Stamford Bridge. In fact, as for who the next manager will be, we made a video on it a few weeks ago, and you can check that out right here. Elsewhere, the likes of Divock Origi, Kasper Dolberg and Kelechi Iheanacho are all on RB Leipzig's list to replace Timo Werner, who left last summer, and they still haven't quite managed to replace his goals. Elsewhere, PSG are looking at making a last-minute bid to sign Eric Garcia from Manchester City, although it looks like he will be returning to boyhood club Barcelona. And lastly but not least, Wolves have agreed a deal with Real Sociedad for Willian Jose. The striker will join Molineux club on loan with a view to a permanent deal. That's all from me then. Let me know your thoughts below. Check out everything else, and until next time, I will see you guys later.